right, friends, so like I mentioned in the beginning of the video, whenever I see farm fresh cabbage, I always pick it up because when you shop local, most farmers care deeply about the health of their soil. They move their crops from season to season and allow the soil to heal. So sometimes you will see cabbage in the grocery stores that look very white, they have no color, and they don't produce brine. So, like I said, since I have not grown cabbage in my garden because of the white cabbage butterfly, it's not that I haven't tried, it's that they always eat it and I have to come up with a way to get rid of those butterflies. I always buy farm fresh sauerkraut. So here I am just peeling the leaves. I am now washing them off, and then I'm going to show you how to create the perfect salt ratio for your kraut. So now I'm going to tell you how to get the perfect ratio of salt in your sauerkraut. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to put each cabbage on the food scale, and I'm going to set the food scale to grams. The next thing I do is that I add up all of the grams of each cabbage. Once we have that total, which is 4,291, we're going to multiply it by 0.02. So this is the measurement of salt that we will put in our sauerkraut, 85 to 86 grams of salt. So through the years, I have heard that putting the cabbage in the food processor can destroy the nutrients. So I opt to chop it up myself. I like to chop it into these long sort of stringy bits so it's nice and stringy. The next thing I do is I add it to the crock. So once the cabbage is all chopped up, we're going to add it to the crock, and now I'm going to put in some of the salt to create the brine. You zero out your scale. I am using Celtic salt. Do not use table salt. I repeat, do not use table salt. You can use Himalayan, you can use sea salt, you can use Celtic salt, but do not use iodized salt or table salt. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm adding in the salt to what I've already chopped up. I just put in half of the salt, and I'm just trying to massage it in so that the cabbage can go down because it takes up so much space. So you just start twisting and churning with your hands, and as you massage the cabbage, it is going to start to produce a liquid. That is your brine. You can see there is the liquid. There it is. So you just keep massaging, and then I am continuing to chop up the rest of the cabbage and add it to my stock pot. Now I am adding in the rest of the salt, and I am continuing to massage it so that we produce a nice brine. Now, as we mix it, I also want to tell you, you want your cabbage to have nutrients. So that is why I said it is so important to get it from a good farmer or to grow it yourself, because so many of the cabbages in the grocery stores do not have the nutrients. Your produce is as good as your soil. You hear me? Your produce is as good as your soil and as good as your farmer. And these farmers do not spray their crops with glyphosate. These are really good, clean cabbages. And you should do that. You should start to get to know your farmers, or get to know yourself if you're going to garden yourself. So once I was done massaging the cabbage, I put on a cloth over the bucket and I just let it rest for an hour. And then when I'm done, I just put the cabbage into clean, sterilized mason jars. And now I am taking the leaves that I washed off from earlier. These are the outer leaves that I got off the cabbage. And I'm just gently folding up the leaves and I am setting them on top of the cabbage. This is going to protect it while it is doing the fermentation. You do not want there to be any space in the mason jar. Then I am putting these fermenting weights on top. And then lastly, I am putting the lids on. I don't screw them. I just gently put them on there so that it can breathe. And now we just let our cabbage ferment on the counter. Today is day 2 since I made the sauerkraut. I did put it underneath a plate and you can see that the brine is coming out. You can see we have some bubbles and this is a great sign that fermentation is happening. Day 4. On day 4, you can see that it's starting to foam. This is also a great sign. The fermentation is doing very well. It's totally fine to take the lid off, and then I'm just pressing down and showing you, look at how it creates those bubbles. This is exactly what is supposed to be happening. Today is day 10. I'm also fermenting some beans here, so I'll have to put that recipe here on the channel. I usually go about 10 days with my kraut. I feel like that is good enough for me. And then I just take out the weights. I take out the protective covering. You could leave the protective covering on the kraut. When I say protective covering, I mean the folded leaves. You could leave them on if you want, but I take out my fermenting weights because I'm always fermenting something, so I'd like to put those back to good use. And then I'm taking off those leaves. And so in this video, what I did was, since I had another little mason jar here that had such little kraut and the cabbage had shrunken up, so I just combined this little one with the big ones. You don't have to do that, but I just wanted to save space in my refrigerator. And then you put the lid on tight this time, wipe off the mason jars, and then store them in your fridge. So here you have homemade sauerkraut that will be phenomenal in your fridge for months and months and months. It's going to help feed your gut microbiome. And finally, friends, head over to sisterfrennn.com to download my new guide, Rebirth the Ancestral Way. It is a really great guide, just giving you some starting points as you heal your gut.